And just like that, it's Friday. I don't know how we crawled through another week. Hi, everybody. Phil, Dave, because we just had so much to talk about. Phil's going to jump on at 12:30. Hi, everybody. I haven't even introduced myself. How terribly rude. That's the tramadol talking. I'm Russ Kane. This is the Midday Show. I've done my back in. All right, I've done my back in. So I'm not in. Let's just say I've been better. Anyway, Phil's coming on, and Chantal is in Egypt and having a private tour of the biggest museum in the world today, so she can't join us. But someone who can join us, you know him, you love him. He's our fearless theatre critic, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Jonathan Baz.
Russ, hello.
Jonathan.
Lovely to be back.
It is nice to see you. I know how busy you are.
It's been a while. And good to see you too. Battling through the pain relief and the opioids that you're on at the moment.
It's just bloody awful. I'll be honest with you. It is awful. It's the result of a car crash I had 27 years ago. And my car was totaled. I was T-boned at about 50 miles an hour. And every now and then my back flares up. And it's just decided to flare up. And nothing I can do about it. Let's just say a quick hello to Julie Voice from her sunny garden. There we are. Right, Mr. Jonathan Baz, theatre critic for the stars.
Okay, so a few weeks have gone by, and a number of shows have washed up in my viewing experience. Some have
washed up. Oh, you mean like a beach? I'm thinking of a kitchen. Washed up. Very good. Very, very good. Very good.
I mean, fairy liquid. I did have my marigolds on, I should suppose.
Of course you did. Of course you did.
Don't go anywhere without
them. You're the Nanette Newman of theatre.
Squeaky clean. That's me.
That's you. Well, no, I know
anyway.
You. I don't think that's true. Anyway, fella.
Anyway, we have this morning the good, the bad, and the ugly. Uh-oh. Well, to be honest, we've got the very good, the good, and the ugly. And let's invert Sergio Leone's title, and let's start off with the most disappointing, and we'll try and finish on a high.
So we're raising up. You see, we're raising up.
I think it's the best way to tackle life. Anyway. So last night. Mm-hmm. I broke the seal with my first ever pantomime of the season. I went to the Pleasance Theatre in Islington to see their offering, very sneakily tagged on the back of Wicked, which is, of course, opening today at the cinemas, Wicked for Good. And
those two. What's the matter with those two? Are they just mad?
This is called Wicked Witches Panto, in this instance for adults! ! And this is a panto at the Pleasance that has actually been. It's a parallel run of two pantomimes. There is a family version that runs in the afternoon and early evening,
and then a filthy version.
And then there's a filthy version that runs strictly for 18 plus only. The press night that I was at, comes as no surprise to you, was the filthy version, of course. I was there, of course, with I have to say, the mayor of the London Borough of Islington. So quite what he made of it all is hard to say.
God only knows.
But I have to say, I was profoundly disappointed. The show is written and directed by an individual called Shane Shay Kono. No, me neither.
All right, you lost me. It's never a good sign, Jonathan, knowing when you say by an individual, I know it's never going to be good. You use the word by an individual.
By an individual. That's probably the most
Give
appropriate
me the name
way.
Again. What is this name?
Shane
Shay
Kono.
Not a clue. Anyway.
He is the... Shane Shay Kono is the writer-director of the piece. Possibly the family panto is probably adequate as a family pantomime. However, when I go along to an adult pantomime that is billed as for 18 plus only, and fair enough, they say it on the door, so therefore they can be as rude and as filthy as they want, because kids have been barred from that performance, and rightly so.
Makes sense.
To be honest, the filth was disappointing. I expect when I go and see an adult panto, I expect to be sobbing with laughter at gags that are filthy, inappropriate,
Jim
bawdy,
Davidson.
offensive.
Jim Davidson, Cinderella,
Call it
was an S.
what you will. Okay, that's what I expect if they're keeping the kiddies out of the theatre, and rightly so. To be honest, what they'd taken was the family panto that Shay Shay Kono had created.
Yeah.
Dropped in a few F-bombs and C words here and there. But to be honest, the filth and the smut and the bawdiness that I was expecting wasn't there. The level of sauciness was, to be honest, in any panto, even in a family pantomime, you expect a little bit of sauce. Of course you do. And it's the mark of a good pantomime writer and a good pantomime cast that they can deliver that sauce that makes the adults chuckle and laugh without making Granny or the head teacher of the school outing totally blush.
That's the trick. It's
a craft.
I did panto for years, and the trick is that the kids aren't offended. It goes right over their head, and they're enjoying it. And mum and dad and auntie and uncle, everybody are having a good old giggle.
Indeed,
that's the
indeed.
Trick.
Getting that to land. And as I say, when you go to an 18+ gig, you know that it's a no holds barred. The gloves are off.
Yeah,
everything should be up for grabs.
Just dropping. Let me pass this by you, JB, because just dropping in foul language. I mean, I've got a potty mouth. I'm the first to admit it, but just dropping in foul language.
Yeah.
That's not clever.
There was a bit more. There was the odd moment of smutty thing that you think, well, this obviously is not in the family version of the show, but it was basically a kiddies family show with the odd dropping of naughtiness in it, and it just didn't work for me.
So in other words, it's lazy.
Yeah, it's someone's trying to be too clever by half, and I don't believe that Shay Shay Kono has the skills to write two parallel pantomimes. Possibly, as I say, the family show is better. It certainly couldn't be much worse. There were some interesting redeeming features to the show. A couple of the actors who played the two respective witches, the Good Witch and the Wicked Witch, were very good. The Wicked Witch in particular, played by a performer known as Gigi Zahir, and her makeup, or his makeup, I'm not sure, their makeup in green was very, very good. And their characterization of the Wicked Witch, it worked. It was fun. Equally, the Good Witch, played by Eleanor Burke, was delightfully hammed up. There are two video cameos. One from Sir Ian McKellen playing Toto the dog. And I have to say, McKellen, for his 5 minutes on a video projection, almost stole the show, because the guy's just brilliant. He can read the phone directory.
Ian McKellen is fantastic.
And you'll be in fits of laughter. Load of canine-related puns. Clearly, his video clip is aimed at both shows, because whilst it was funny and brilliantly acted, there was nothing saucy in it really whatsoever.
That's okay.
So they'll run that same clip in the matinee and in the evening. The other great, or much trailed until people found out to their point, they thought he was appearing live, was Jeremy Corbyn.
Good, because I was already loving this panto so much.
Local MP, and he rocks up as the Wizard of, wait for it, Oslington. Get it? Which is not bad. That's a pretty standard panto pun.
All right, that's okay.
So there he is. His acting skills, I've got to be honest. His acting skills are matched only by his ability to win a general election. Really, they are that good. They are that good. Good indeed. Just because, of course, nationally he's a disaster, but locally, quite interestingly, of course, he's been returned by a majority. Oh yes, a majority of the Munchkin
area.
A majority of Islington's Munchkins adore him. And return him to Parliament time after time.
Gives you a little bit of an idea what Islington's like. Anyway.
Indeed. But it was also interesting, of course, I'm sure you're familiar with The Wizard of Oz. It was great to see a politician for whom I have not much respect, I have to say, let full disclosure. it was great to see a politician playing one of literature's most celebrated charlatans, which, of course, the Wizard of Oz
Excellent.
is. You know, he's the biggest fraud and the
Excellent.
biggest sham ever. And
Good
there is a
gag.
great,
Very,
there is a,
very,
thank you.
very clever.
Thank you. And there is a great song in Wicked called Wonderful, which I highly recommend to anyone who either you've seen the show or not, in which the wizard sings. And he talks about the facade of what he created. And it was nice to describe Corbyn as being thought of as wonderful by, as I say, by Islington's Munchkins.
Yeah.
So maybe as a family show, if you're local and you want to support your local panto, go along and see it. I can't comment on the family show because I haven't seen it, but I probably have seen most of it. As an adult show, frankly, don't waste your money. I was bored for too much of it. It was more of a political picket line, politically correct picket line than a panto. And
what
I
a surprise! What a surprise!
Wasn't crying with laughter once.
Independent Republic of Islington.
Islington, indeed, indeed. However, let's move on to better stuff.
Let me just ask you one thing. Was there any production value in it? I mean, putting aside the writing was clearly poor.
So, as I say,
the cost. Good?
No, the product. One never expects platinum production values unless you're at the Palladium.
No.
Where to be honest, Michael Harrison throws $1 million at the show, and it looks.
If you go to any regional,
if you're going to a regional show,
panto, which I did for
you
years,
know that the scenery is going to creak. I would say actually the scenery in this instance was particularly poor, but I also get it. It's not on 5 days a week. They're not having busloads of school kids in, even for the family show. So I've got some degree of sympathy for the scenery that was crap. Yeah. Sadly, I had no time at all for a script that left me bored. No. You know, I've got to be honest. I came out thinking, oh, you know, I'll be kind. It's a 3-star show. Then I Googled more closely into the fact that this show is being marketed as adults only. The evening iteration. It's strictly 18 plus. Well, don't waste your money. You know, I'm sure there's better filth and smut to be had elsewhere for an 18 plus audience than at the Pleasance. But families, go and support your local panto for the family show, without doubt. Now,
fair enough.
A few miles up the road at the Hampstead Theatre. Sadly, this one's coming to an end tomorrow, which is a mark of how long I've been away from these beautiful airwaves, is a show called The Assembled Parties.
Yep.
Playing at Hampstead Theatre, Swiss Cottage. It's an American play, opened on Broadway in 2013. First time over here, some 12 years later. It's very, very American, very New York. It's about, you know, unusually and quite imaginatively, a Jewish family who get together for Christmas. You know, not too uncommon. Quite a few Jewish families do get together for a turkey and a Christmas lunch.
It's the holiday season. So there
Indeed. And this is set in a New York apartment, Christmas of 1980, and then 20 years later, Christmas 2000. Of course, in 1980, Ronald Reagan had just won the presidential election. And in 2000, 20 years later, George Bush, the junior one, had just won the election too, both Republicans. So there's a little bit of knee-jerk Republican bashing in the script.
Of course.
To be honest, one's used to that, whatever, blah, blah, move on. As a family, as an observation on families dealing with a little bit of tragedy and dysfunctionality, it's not bad at all. Tracy Ann Oberman leads the line as one of 2 sisters. She plays one, and Jennifer Westfeldt plays t'other one. Jennifer having flown in across the pond to take part in this play. Tracy Ann Oberman is fantastic. She gets her accent spot on. She brings a degree of caustic charm, and I think I wrote at the time that her character has a Dorothy Parker like wit that has been infused with the humor of the Borscht Belt.
Nicely done.
Her timing and her nuance is on point throughout, and she creates a bittersweet combination, as I wrote, of caustic compassion. It's a complicated family. It's got loads of issues. In case anyone is going to go tonight or tomorrow to see it, I won't give any spoilers. First half is a little slow. The second half is an absolute zinger. And you see Oberman, Jennifer Westfeldt giving cracking performances. Two chaps, Alexander Marks and Sam Marks, I don't believe they're related, play a clutch of younger men caught up in the family's issues as well in the story. And as I say, it's well worth a watch.
Did you think, now, I haven't said anything, by pure chance, a friend of mine had a spare ticket for a matinee.
Yep.
And it was like one of the days that I didn't have on a funeral or something else or broadcasting. So on a whim, I went. I didn't like it at all. I thought Tracy Ann Oberman was terrific, but she's always terrific. The other lead actress drove me round the bend. I couldn't hear, and I thought it was me, but there was other people in the row, and in the interval they were saying exactly the same thing. Couldn't hear what the hell she was saying because she spoke up here and everything was coming from her throat, and it was just, and I thought, I don't understand the point of this story. What, it's not saying anything new. There's nothing original about it. There's so many loose ends, and there's characters that wander on, behave in the most peculiar way, and it's not explained. I did write to Tracy Ann Oberman and congratulated her because her performance was terrific. And without her, I actually would have left at the I would have left at the interval because I was really bored with it, and which is a shame.
Well, as I say, I found the first half slow, second half better. I hear what you're saying about Jennifer Westfeldt. We had no problem hearing Jennifer's dialogue, and interestingly, of course, everybody ages over the course of the show, and Westfeldt ages quite pronouncedly from the first half to the second half. So and we actually thought her aging was done relatively very well, actually. So I'm going to disagree with you on the audio angle of the show. We heard it fine. I will agree with you. It's not everyone's cup of tea.
I thought it was me because of my hearing, but people sitting next to you get talking. And they felt exactly the same. I don't see it transferring anywhere from Hampstead. I've got to be honest. It's not good enough. But I hate to say that. And it's very New York.
New York loved it. I'm not sure it's got it hasn't got the cojones to carry itself in London. And it also is of its time. Though, having said that, those people that will hate Republican presidents will no doubt be thoroughly galvanized to want to go and see it again. In that respect, because whatever Richard Greenberg had to say from a political point of view, I'm sure they'll be repeating it in droves going forward.
I just thought it was odd. I just found it very odd.
So let me come on.
What I was mulling over is I didn't know what he was trying to say, the writer.
Yeah,
because there was nothing new. It was beautifully done. Don't misunderstand. It was beautifully done.
And to be honest, I thought the reference to
Miles was great.
The mild spoiler alert, the reference to the death through AIDS, I thought really was quite a bit of a throwaway. Let's chuck that into the pot as well.
Well, it was one line because for some reason that is never explained, one of the characters has a blood transfusion and dies of AIDS, and it's in one line. You go, well, that's it. Random. What do you? You could
because that's a subject that merits. That is a subject that merits more commentary. Anyway, let me move on to couple of very good productions. The first of which I didn't see, but a member of my team did. I was out of the country when the Hunger Games opened at the Troubadour Canary Wharf. Now, the Hunger Games has received broadly middling, snooty reviews from most of my peers. I wasn't there. I've not seen it. The team member who I went to see it thought it was terrific. One of the best nights in the theatre they'd experienced. They loved the special effects. They enjoyed the acting.
Can I ask a question? This team member of Team Baz, were they familiar? I've never seen the film, any of them.
Correct.
So I have no idea.
Correct. They're up to speed. They're down with the kids.
Okay.
They understand what's what, which I'm not. I'm up there with the
I can't bear
OAPs.
Jennifer Lawrence, so that's one of my problems.
But my reporting back and published review is that it was a jolly good night at the theatre. So that which goes against, as I say, goes against the tide of most of the critics, but that's what I've
did
got
they
to
not
report.
like about? What did the other
I
critics
think
not like about it?
they found it was superficial.
Populist. It's populist.
Well, it certainly is. But I remember a year or so ago, I loved The Devil Wears Prada at the Dominion Theatre.
Yes, you did.
Which was
slated
by everyone. For me, it did
still
what
running.
it said on the tin. Yeah, absolutely. It was The Devil Wears Prada. What do you expect? And I thought it was brilliant. It worked. So
I remember, much like you're saying, I went years ago because it's been on for so long. I went to the press show of the ABBA, whatever it was called. The
ABBA, Mamma Mia.
Mamma Mia, thank you. I absolutely loved it. I'm not an ABBA fanatic. I like their music. I'm not fanatical about it. And I loved it. And I remember the reviews at the time going, oh, this, that, and the other. And it was excellent. It does, as you say beautifully, it does what it says on the tin. You want a musical with ABBA music, there you got it.
Listen, 40 years ago, the Royal Shakespeare Company introduced this rather obscure French musical called Les Miserables, albeit based on a classic French. The critics hated it, and look how it bombed after all those reviews. Quite. Let me finish on a show of pure tragedy, but absolute excellence, which also sadly finishes tomorrow. This is a show called Mr. Jones. It's on at the Finborough Theatre in Earl's Court, literally just down the road from Earl's. It's a 5-minute walk from Earl's Court tube station.
Okay.
Not on the Earl's Court roadside, the other side. If you come out of the west side of Earl's Court station and turn left, you'll then end up at the Finborough Theatre. Mr. Jones is a two-handed play. It's written by a young man called Liam Holmes, who also stars in it. And he is accompanied on stage by an equally talented young actress called Mably Gwyn. And it is set, when I say Aberfan, I don't really need to say much more.
Oh, God.
It's set in Aberfan at the time of when that terrible disaster, when the tip of mining waste slid down the valley and killed more than 100 children in the primary school.
Awful.
So this chappie, Liam Holmes, plays Stephen Jones, who's a young man. He's the rugby playing hero of the village of Aberfan, got a job in a baker's. He's got a younger brother who idolizes him, who of course is at the primary school. His mum died a few years ago. And the play is set around 2 or 3 months before the day of the disaster and a couple of months after the disaster.
Okay.
And it is one of the most intelligently, beautifully, it's only a 1-act piece, lasts for about 90 minutes.
Okay.
It takes half an hour or so to set the scene and build up he's the rugby player, she's a young nurse. They've been childhood friends, sweethearts. He adores her. She tags him along. There's a half an hour to get going, but this half an hour, I'm thinking, well, this is dragging on a bit. And then I realize, of course, by the time the disaster happens, which is only in the play portrayed by a terrible sound effect, a menacing, overpowering rumble that lasts about 30 seconds.
God. Oh, God.
But by that stage, you are so invested in these two people that your heart is breaking just at the sound effect.
Oh, God.
The play then goes on as he deals with the grief of having lost his younger brother in the primary school. I'm filling up talking about it. I've got to be honest. She talks of, she's a nurse and she'd been in the local hospital receiving the bodies of the children.
Oh, Christ.
Indeed.
God.
Indeed. I had to tell you something, Russ. As I walked back up to Earl's Court Station thinking about this play, I sobbed as I walked back up the road. I've never done that before, leaving a show. that actually I thought about, and it is a drama that is so beautifully crafted.
Yeah. It's the power of the
Um,
writing, Jonathan.
oh,
It's the power of the writing because, if you've never written, you could say, well, anyone could do that because it's
yeah.
such a tragedy. No, and especially with a two-hander, wow, that's the
I read that
difference. That's the difference
the
of good writing.
absolutely. The closing line, the review that I wrote at the time, it's rare to see new writing of such stellar quality. The two characters navigating their grief makes for harrowing and heartbreaking drama. Simple narratives combined with outstanding acting, theatre does not get better than this.
Wow, wow, wow.
And it will cost you beans to go and see it at the Fimbra. It deserves a West End transfer. It won't cost a lot of money for producers to put it on. It's only a
Sure.
cast of two.
Yeah.
But I have to say it was just beautiful. I didn't know what to expect. Oh, I knew what to expect. I knew what the story was about.
Yeah.
I didn't expect to be punched in the guts the way it absolutely punched me and broke my heart.
Yeah.
If you can get along to the Fimbra tomorrow night, if there are still tickets available, just go. And hopefully, if the gods of theatre have anything to do, it'll come back to a bigger audience in town. Just marvelous, marvelous theatre. Tragically
I
storied.
hate to say it, but it's not just the brilliant writing and acting. But if you think about the economics of it, because that's what the producer's going to look at, they go, well, we can afford to bring this into town, as opposed
Indeed.
to cast and an orchestra and 8 million
Yeah,
people.
and it's not stellar names either.
No,
by any means.
no.
I think it's had a run in Edinburgh. It's a very new piece of writing, but really meticulously
But how
researched.
wonderful to find a new writer of that caliber that can move you, because that's what art
Absolutely.
is about, isn't it? That's the whole point. You had a huge, genuine, heartfelt, omnipresent theatrical experience. That's what you had. You're walking up the street and it's staying with you, and and you're crying. It moved you. So that's the power of art, which is wonderful.
To actually, and it's a story that you know what's going to happen.
Yeah. So it makes it even kind of more coming. Interesting, because it's coming.
Yeah.
So you're emotionally prepared, and it's still
also a brilliantly written, a very thin, very small program, a program that had a long 2-page essay on the history of Aberfan and what went on afterwards. For example, the Queen took a week to visit the town after the disaster. I remember that. And interestingly, she long confessed after that if she looked back on moments of her reign that she regretted, the fact that it took her a week to visit Aberfan is something that troubled her with a huge amount of personal shame and regret. She felt she should have got there a lot sooner.
I remember that is a one of the few missteps that our much missed, much beloved late Queen made. But I'm sure that's under advice. I don't suppose
Indeed. I mean, I learned also over the course of the years that the Government Compensation Fund it did claw back from the disaster funds that the good people of around the world chipped in and raised, back in its day, a huge sum. The government took some of that as far as compensating the government for whatever they'd paid out. And it took a legal battle that eventually the government relented on and lost, that the government repaid to the Aberfan Fund.
Indeed. Politicians, they never, you think you've reached the Mariana Trench bottom of how much you can despise and loathe them. And then you hear something like that.
Indeed.
And it's like the Mariana Trench gets even deeper.
It was a fascinating program to read as well before the show.
So, Jonathan, to recap on the shows, there's
Wicked Witches, the adult version. This is not a show, to quote the Monty Python Bruce's Philosophers Drinking Wine sketch. This is not a wine for drinking. This is a wine for laying down and avoiding. Yes, it's one. The adult version. The adult version, no. Family version, probably. Support your local
Well,
panto.
support your local theatre and take the kids.
Indeed,
That'll be fine.
indeed.
That'll be
Assembled
lovely.
parties. Well, it's ending tomorrow. It's quirky. I would say if you fancy a quirk, go and see
Well,
it.
Tracy Ann Oberman is just
she's
great.
magic.
She's
magic.
a fantastic actress.
Yes.
Fantastic.
Hunger Games. If you love the movie, my team say go and see it. And Mr. Jones, sadly, again, only on until tomorrow night. There ain't many better players in town right now.
Praise
so
for
that's
you,
a recap.
You don't give it willy nilly.
I'm off to see another bundle of laughs tonight, which is All My Sons. Arthur Miller's rip roaring comedy.
Arthur Miller's 2 Hours of Misery. Yes.
Interestingly, tonight I'm going with our mutual friend Russ, Susie Kennedy. And Susie, of course, has a double life as a fantastic Marilyn Monroe, not just look-alike Marilyn Monroe, sound alike. She is Marilyn.
And she's Miller, also one of the nicest people on the planet.
Well, she is indeed. Arthur Miller, of course, was married to Miss Monroe. And Susie was speculating about whether she may turn up in full Marilyn garb.
But even when she's not dressed as Marilyn, she looks like Marilyn. So
she still looks like Marilyn. Indeed.
She's a great person. Lovely.
So I'll have that plus loads more stuff to report on in 2 weeks' time.
2 weeks to Jonathan. Thank you so much. It's always an absolute pleasure to have you.
A joy.
It really is. Okay. Take care.
And be well.
See you in a couple of weeks.
Be well.
That would be nice. Jonathan Baz, ladies and gentlemen, you know him and you love him. The show is relentless today, and I'm pleased to say the tramadol are kicking in. Ladies and gentlemen, Phil, the Count of Cravats, Dave.
I'm not wearing a cravat. Hang on, I've got to sort that straight away.
It's so funny. My son-in-law says, how's your friend Dave?
Dave.
I go, his name's not Dave.
Dave. Hang on. There you go. I've cravated it up a bit.
Oh, thank God. That's otherwise we didn't know who you were. How have you been?
Yeah, it's me. Surprise.
No, that's fantastic.
You didn't recognize
me. We can go through some of the lovely messages we've got from
Yorkshire. It's a bit like that. You know that part in a comedy film where someone takes a wig off to reveal. I mean, not that I'd know that. Takes a wig off to reveal who they actually are. It's like me, when I put the cravat back on, you realise who I actually am.
I realised. I didn't know who it was. It could have been anybody there. Dave A. Sleet. Greetings, one and all. Hello. And all the way from Sydney, Australia, the wonderful Michelle Vaughan, who I didn't get the chance to meet for the first time when she was over in London. She's a friend of Chantal's. So, Michelle, good day. And all the way from, I'm going to say the Riviera. It's not, but it'd be nice if she was. The pulchritudinous Françoise Pascal. Good afternoon, feeling That's enough of that. What's this? Too relaxed without the cravat. Quite right. too relaxed without the cravat. How have you been, fella? How have you been?
Yeah, I'm okay, thank you. It feels like it's been a very funny sort of week, really. For obvious reasons, I'm not least of all because obviously you're not feeling so tickety-boo. But it's
me, God, no.
Yeah.
Just horrible.
No, but it's a funny week in the sense that obviously winter has well and truly arrived. So I'm now wandering around the flat with the cardi on, and also sort of have had to put the heating on, which doesn't throw me too much.
Only you, nobody else, Phil. Everyone else is in flip-flops and shorts. It's amazing.
No, but what I mean is that it's like someone's flicked a switch. Don't get me wrong, I don't mind the weather because normally it's a gradual thing, but it feels really sudden.
Well, it was the other day. I looked out the window. I thought, what? Because I know I'm on opioids at the moment. It was snowing. And I'm going, no, I'll make it. I can't. I must be dreaming. And it was snowing. I mean, just how random was that? And then it was sunny.
I know. I woke up to snow as well.
Yeah. The things I want to ask you, of course, I can't ask you, which is, because I know it'll put you in a very awkward situation. Let's just say I watched. I'll just say anything. You don't have to join in.
I know what you're going to say.
It's not
going to be too awkward. I know what you're going to say. You're going to say that you watched a program featuring a former colleague of mine.
I did. I watched the whole Dan Wootton interview with Mike Graham. Dan Wootton didn't hold back. He didn't hold back, I have to say.
Look, all I will say about it is that I am.
I was not putting you on the spot. I
No,
was making
it's fine. I can say
observation.
this much. I'm personally sad that the situation has come to this.
Yeah, me
but
too.
At the same time, I recognize that not everything lasts forever. All good things come to an end and all that, and nothing in that industry stays the same. So it's a shame, but at the same time, one can't really speculate too much if someone says one thing and someone says another, and look, we're at where we're at, and it's time to move on.
Well, the problem with, if you don't know, a tiny recap is that at another huge radio station, Talk TV or Talk, the number one broadcaster there's a chap called Mike Graham. He has the highest rated show. It's a huge show, and he's no longer there. I'm putting it in neutral terms. He left following a post on social media, and I'm walking through this like I'm walking through glass, but I'm being very careful.
But do you want me to say it? Because I know exactly the line to toe.
No, all right, you go and do it.
Okay, so the former breakfast presenter of Talk TV, as some people know it, Mike Graham, he was he's basically left because there was a post that appeared on his social media, which he strenuously denies he has anything to do with. He believes that he was hacked. He was given several opportunities to work with the company to prove that, and unfortunately, he basically reneged on it. He sort of didn't really sort of go through with it.
Yep.
And as a result of it, the powers that be decided that it would be for the best if he does not return to the station. And look, as I've said already, it's sad, but we do have to move on with it. So
the interesting thing, and I can go less neutral, is that the thing that Dan Wootton, who I know is Marmite, some people think he's marvelous, some people can't stand the sight of him, but what Dan Wootton was saying was, why didn't your colleagues, and I thought it was, if you're an outsider, I get why I asked the question, why didn't your colleagues support you? But if you're on a massive contract with a huge radio station, radio/TV station, and somebody leaves that station, I don't know of any other situation where other headliners would say, oh, well, if you've got rid of so-and-so, I'm leaving as well.
But I guess it depends what you mean by support, because if by support you mean that you didn't want the whole I've been hacked thing to be proven and for everything to go back to normal, well, then, yeah, of course people supported him.
But I think they supported him privately and they messaged him and phoned him and his mate did all that.
But if support looks like you are condoning comments that anyone in their right mind would find revolting, well, then no, of course they're not going to support that. So it depends. It's black and white as a situation.
Whether you believe the comments to be true, whether you believe not talking about the source of the comments, be clear, whether you believe them to be true or not to be true, whatever, they were horrible. They might be true, but they were horrible, is what I'm saying. It was whoever wrote it, it was extremely ill-advised.
Yeah, I know. And Mike even distanced himself from it as well. He even said that it was a view that he does not personally support. So have to take that as given as well.
This isn't some idiot. This is a very sophisticated guy at the top of his game. And unless you've had a complete kind of mental breakdown for an hour or something, I can't see why you would do that. That's all I would say. Because it's a career-ending thing to do.
Isn't this nice? Breaking news has just appeared from Sky News. Afghan national pleads guilty to rape of 12-year-old girl in Nuneaton. Lovely. There you go.
It's great.
So we're letting it over the boats, people.
Guys, this can't go on. This cannot go on. This absolutely cannot go on. I've seen now, and I have a tiny bit of skin in the game, if I may say that. and I'm sorry if I'm shifting around in an odd way, but my back is diabolical. It's this: the Labour are so desperate and terrified of reform, terrified of them, that they're now the Guardian, which I wouldn't, if I had a budgie, I wouldn't line my budgie cage with it. But the Guardian have come up that when Nigel Farage was at school, we went to the same school, not at the same time. Nigel Farage is much younger than I am. I never met him at school. He's years younger. So our paths never, ever crossed when we were pupils at the same school. And they're saying, yes, his classmate said he said this and he said that. And I'm like, really? You've managed to find the classmates and they distinctly remember somebody saying something in the playground. What a load of garbage. I mean, that's
I tell you why it's a load of garbage. It's because the things that one says at school, it's funnily enough, one goes to school to learn what's right and wrong.
Correct.
In many different ways, whether it be in education, whether it be in society, whatever it is, there are many different things that one learns in a school environment. And so are they going to find that one day that there was a time when, before I realized how offensive the P word was, for example, I called one of my classmates that? Are they going to go back to that?
Oh, they would. Yeah, because if you were a danger to them not getting re-elected. But if you were a danger to them not getting re-elected, look, this is a political party in the death throes. They know it. They're going to be finished. 4 years' time, they're going to be wiped off the political map. So they will do anything. Well, we've got to get through 4 years, and at this rate, we're not going to. We're just not going to at this rate. But they will throw anything. They will throw as much mud. I clean that up. As much mud at the wall, and some of it will stick because there's a lot of very stupid people out there. That's a fact. And, you know, they see it on social media. Oh, it must be true. It's in The Guardian. Oh, it must be true.
Do you know, speaking of, so whilst you get yourself sorted, do you know, speaking of stupid people, there was a...
God.
RK, you go and get yourself sorted. We'll come back to you in just a bit. There you go. Hang on a second. We'll let Ross have the privacy he's earned for that. But don't worry, I will let you know how he is, but hopefully he's okay. Speaking of stupid people, I was watching France 24 the other day. So that is it's a 24-hour news channel, but it's not actually in French. They do have an English speaking channel as well. And I was watching that, I think it was the other night, last night, whenever it was, I can't remember. The night's blurring to one. It's ridiculous. I got to tell you, can't flipping believe how many times I just sort of sit here on a Friday and think, my goodness me, what, another week has gone already? But France 24, I think it was last night before, something like that. And they had someone on who was Canadian, who was talking about Gazan students and saying about how Canada is quite rightly being, they weren't saying this, I'm saying Canada was quite rightly being quite, shall we say, selective and careful about letting students from the Gaza Strip go to Canada to study. And the fact that letting any go at all, I find absolutely baffling, but let's not get into that too much. And so they were saying how it's really disappointing that the government are behaving like this. How could they be like this? They're just students. They just want to study. They just want... No. They are not just students. They are not just wanting to study or just want to get on with life. The simple truth is, you were talking about individuals who have been brought up, rightly or wrongly, you know, it might be accident of birth, I get that. But they have been brought up to think in a very destructive and very unpleasant and very anti-Western way. And yet, there was this individual who I think was some sort of professor, allegedly, at one of the university or the educational institutions that I genuinely don't know. But all I know is that they were talking about how wrong it is of the government to be this selective. And you just think to yourself, are you actually insane? How can people not know what goes on in this world and the rights and the wrongs and the good and the bad to that degree, where they are prepared to go on a national channel, although it's not necessarily a Canadian channel. I believe France 24 is available over there, but it is certainly a national channel, certainly from the point of view of France. Anyway, Well, it's international, I suppose, because it's English speaking. Obviously, France 24 is in French in the mainland. How can anyone be that ignorant and allegedly be a professor? It's just completely and utterly baffling to me. I don't get it. Really don't get it. But anyway, look, I have to tell you that Russ has dropped off from this. I will obviously be looking to see if he's okay at 1 o'clock, but I'll stick with you in the meantime, and hopefully you carry on with the conversation and the interaction in the meantime. I wasn't expecting to go monologue, but I'll do it if I have to. So I was saying to Russ just now, it's been a funny old sort of week, because do you ever get, and I know this is going to sound a bit tree huggish, a bit hippie and a bit odd, but bear with. Do you ever get times, weeks, days, months, whatever it is, where you feel that change is in the air or something is different? And I'm talking about seasons here. I'm talking about feeling as though that there is, I suppose, for a really sort of crass way of putting it, like the stars are either in alignment or they're not. Do you know what I mean? It's almost as if something out there is happening somewhere somehow, but you're not quite sure sort of what. Does that make sense? Anyway, okay, are you all right? Because everyone's a bit worried about you, understandably. Can't hear you. Your mic's not on.
We had the most enormous spasm in my back. I'm so sorry. It just, wow. That was a little rough. And that's on tramadol, and the tramadol aren't touching the sides at the moment. So, yeah, that was, sorry about that.
Don't be, as long as you are, well, as
what were
okay
you
as
saying?
can be.
What were you saying, fella?
I was talking about, without wanting to sound like I'm hugging trees for a living.
No.
Do you ever get some weeks where you feel like the stars are in alignment and then they're not? As in, like,
yes,
just
yeah,
change in the air, something's happening,
yeah.
Something's given, and there's just like some sort of benchmark, watermark, whatever you want to call it, in your life at that moment that something is about to change.
Yeah, totally.
So I was just referring to that. And Francois says, oh, yes, when there is a full moon.
Oh, a lot of people believe that. Yeah, I get that. A lot of people believe that. Yeah.
Philip was after you. Hope Russ is okay. Dave, hope RK is okay. Best wishes. So he's here. Don't worry. He's back with us.
Sometimes you do think that life is just, oh dear. It was such a spasm. My computer fell to pieces as well. It's yeah, you do sometimes think when everything gets out of control, you think, oh, this is hopeless. What's going on? And it needs to kind of reset, when things sort of all go wrong. I don't know why it is. It just happens sometimes.
It's the same way as also, I mean, you can break it down to a really trivial level. It's the same way. Have you ever noticed that things run out? Like sort of groceries and stuff like that run out at the same time. Have you ever found this? So in other words,
groceries will run out. Yeah, sure.
No. So in other words, maybe you finish a packet of cheese at the same time you finish the loo roll. Do you know? I know it sounds really silly.
Don't get them confused and put them in the wrong room, because it will not
could be very unpleasant. Sure.
Cheese slices, be that as it may. Who wants an Andrex sandwich? I don't want cheese and Andrex.
Definitely not. And then you sort of, if you end up rubbing cheese on your backside, you think, eat damn. Anyway,
eat damn.
So,
and then you go, hey, that's nacho cheese. Anyway,
I see what you did.
Yay! Thank you very much. I'm here all week. Yeah. So it's
as long as you don't end up with a red Leicester.
Oh,
good lord!
Very, very good. So it's interesting. You're much more
the speed in which Russ moved. I thought he dropped his wallet.
That's very funny. That's very good. That's very good. No, my wallet. It's empty.
To be fair, I actually don't think that RK moved with such speed when he dropped his machine, which is why I took him off screen. I thought, okay, this is where
the spasm hit and I just leapt is what happened. The spasm just went into my, I'm just praying it doesn't go back to sciatica, because I've never known anything as painful as sciatica. That was the worst. It's absolutely horrific. And if you've ever had it, you'll know what I'm talking about. You forget that the back controls sort of everything. Every movement is controlled through the back, and you just forget how immobile you suddenly feel. Yeah, it's very awkward. Very awkward. There we are.
Well, I know that Mother Dave can relate to you because she's, well, going through all sorts of strange things with her back at the moment. So much so that, unfortunately, and I don't think this is a hidden secret, I think that she's fairly open about it, she does need to have an operation in January. So.
Does she? On her back? Or something else? On her back?
No, on her back. So. It will be unnerving times, but at the same time, I think we all have to tell ourselves that at least hopefully it will give her life back.
Well, she's such a nice woman. She's such a nice woman. It's interesting. Somebody said to me I did 2 funerals this week, and they were both very special in their own way. But you do start to get a bit philosophical about it because you're dealing with people in grief. And one funeral was a lady of certain years. She'd had a wonderful life, adored by her family, and sad as it was because the everyone missed her, the family, the grown-up grandchildren, everybody missed her and will miss her. And the other was a lady who had not been ill, younger than me, just come back from a lovely cruise with her husband and dropped dead. Literally in the house, dropped dead. Said, I don't feel well. And the next day, just gone. And and so the family said, why do terrible things happen to nice people? And my philosophy is this, without getting too deep about it. And what I said was, if you start to look at that, it's opening the door to madness. If you start to look for logic, if you start to look for fairness in life, and the only way you get through, the way I deal with what's happened to me in the past, and it's a random lottery. It's just a random lottery. It might be you, it might not be you. And that's kind of the only way to deal with it, because if you start to look for the logic or the plan or some great cosmic course, you'll go mad.
But it is one of the reasons why I've always said that as much as I understand why people struggle in this day and age with the concept of religion, I do understand it. The idea that some great man is sitting up on a big white fluffy cloud with a beard looking down and deciding everyone's fate. I understand that people don't get their heads around it, but actually it depends on how you use religion to help you deal with something. So if one was to use religion not to so much justify something, but to say, if you like, as a substitute answer in the absence of any more scientific answer. Does that make sense? So in other words,
well, explain it a bit more, because I think I get
all right,
it.
One is never going to understand why such rotten things happen to some people. You, of all people I know that, right? But you're never going to get that answer, no matter how much you look for it. And the problem you're going to find is that if you keep trying to justify it and then realizing there is no answer, then it's not going to help. Whereas if you actually sort of say that in the absence of any sensible answer, that, okay, obviously this is part of for want of an expression, a bigger plan that I don't know about, then it somehow just sort of, it will allow someone to move on and to, or not even move on, but just to live with it. I can't explain how I just think that religion
cope.
Religion has a place.
Well, somebody once said, and it wasn't me because I'm not that clever, but whether there's a God or not a God, who knows, right? I don't know. You don't know. If you believe in it, that's your personal thing. And if you don't believe in it, that's your personal thing. It's nobody else's business. However, if you lived your life like there was, and you lived it by being a decent person, even if there's nothing, absolutely nothing, so when you pass, that's it, that's no bad thing. It's no bad thing to live your life just being a decent person. You don't lose anything by it. Does that make sense?
Oh, I'm a believer that there has to be something after this, and it's actually for no other reason
This is the thing that
It's actually for no other reason that I don't want to go nuts thinking about the alternative.
Well, of course. Oh, I don't think there's any point to it at all. I think we have one ride on the merry-go-round, and that's it. So enjoy it as much as you can. That's how I think about it, really.
But isn't it a nice thought to think that someday that those who we have lost along the way will be reunited?
Back with us? It's a lovely thought. It's a wonderful thought. It's a beautiful thought. I'll make it personal that I'd see my mum and dad again. It's I would love that. I could think of nothing. I miss them desperately. They died years ago. Dad died 25, 26 years ago. I miss them a lot. I dream about them every night. Why? I don't know. I just do. So you see, I agree. I hate to say this. Not because it's Philip. Religion was created to control. Yeah, control the masses. Make them afraid. If you think about why a cathedral, I'm not making a religious point, I'm making an architectural point. Why are cathedrals so huge? The reason they're so huge is when you go all the way back and you've got a much more rural agricultural society, and they go to the cathedral. They come in from the fields, and you're maybe 5'6", 5'10" tall, and you see this huge structure. It is meant to make you feel insignificant. And if you feel insignificant, you're much easier to control. I actually do agree with Philip. I think it was always there. I think, first of all, it came out of superstition. And then, and I'm still superstitious, I argue with myself about this. I go, you're a rational human being. What the hell are you talking? I argue with myself. I don't argue with anybody else about it. Yeah. Oh, what's all this? What's Dave Sleet saying? Because we like Dave Sleet. Would you
I
like
have
to
long
read
thought that the reason meerkats dig with such importance is because they are looking for the purpose of life, becoming comfortable in one's own connection to the world, and our place in it is the most personal experience.
Yeah. Well, having a purpose gets you out of bed in the morning. Having a purpose is a wonderful thing. It's a wonderful thing. Not having a purpose is it's lonely.
But you see, here's the thing. As much as I understand the idea, and we're getting very deep considering we've got 3 minutes left, but considering that religion indeed probably was created to control the masses, don't you think that with the way that some people behave, especially in a fairly godless society in this day and age, let's be honest, the vast majority of people probably don't care about religion.
Yeah.
Don't you actually think that it was probably a slightly nicer world when there was a majority religion that told one to love thy neighbor and to actually forgive those who do things against us?
Yeah,
because I do,
and not to steal and things like that.
I
It would
personally
also
think
be
it was a
very
nicer
helpful.
country.
It would also be very helpful if religious leaders were apolitical and religious leaders, because you see what. Here's something, and please don't be offended with what I'm going to say. Years ago, when anything happened to the Archbishop of Canterbury, it was huge news. It was front page news. It was a very important role in this country. It was enormously important. The Archbishop of Canterbury basically resigned, as you know, for reasons we don't even need to go into. Everybody knows why. It kind of, the news was like with the Greyhound racing results on page 52 at the bottom. It was like nothing. And then you would think, well, this is the most important role in the religion of this country, the United Kingdom. You'd immediately have to find somebody. They didn't find anybody for months and months and months. And when they did, everybody went, are you kidding me? I don't think they helped themselves. That's all I'm going to say. I don't think they helped themselves.
Any odd way, speaking of help ourselves.
Politics out of that, you've got to go and work, and I've got to go and try and walk. Well, do my
Well,
best.
obviously, wish you a speedy recovery.
Bless you.
So.
Thank you so much. Well, as long as it doesn't get any worse, we can cope with it. I'll be back on. Yeah, I'll be back on Monday with Neil Longy Long. I'm so glad you could join, Phil. It's always an absolute pleasure.
It's a great pleasure to be here. So.
Thank you so much. Until next week, have a great
Bye-bye.
weekend, everybody.